Fortunato. Today is Wednesday, July 20th, 2016. If you want to follow us on Twitter, please go to CATEX TV. We've often talked about the practice of claim reserve releases. Claim reserve releases are made possible when insurers and reinsurers determine that funds that they have escrowed in anticipation of paying claims which occurred months and years ago, in fact, may not be needed. They thus release those reserves and put the money back into profits. In these lean times when premiums have dipped and investment rates are nil, reinsurers and insurers have often been accused by critics of digging a little bit too deeply to find claim reserves amounts that can be released that might in fact be more prudently left there to pay claims should they ever arise. Meanwhile, the UK regulator, the Prudential Regulatory Authority, has voiced its concern over the sustainability of claim reserve releases by syndicates at Lloyd's. In a letter sent yesterday to all Lloyd's insurers, the PRA said that reserve releases in 2015, as measured by the percentage of reserves brought forward, were the highest for over 30 years. This caused the regulator to question the sustainability of the reserves. Following discussion with Lloyd's, the PRA said, "We understand that they too are going to initiate their own review in this area, so they're going to avoid duplication and wait for the Lloyd's review." Meanwhile, the PRA also said that despite premium rates having fallen across nearly all commercial lines of business, most insurers appear to believe that current market rates were still adequate in the sense that the rates exceeded their internal technical rate. Thus, the PRA said, in the absence of a significant loss event, it's possible that rates will continue to fall in 2016. Also, the PRA noted that there was an apparent disconnect between year-on-year trends in booked loss ratio for commercial liability lines and the overall view on policy pricing. The PRA said that while firms are reporting that commercial liability loss ratios between 2014 and 2015 have remained broadly the same, the rate changes have been negative. We observe that this may indicate an insufficient feedback loop between pricing, reserving, and business planning. Translation, what that means is that the rates are still dropping, even though the evidence, the loss ratios, are remaining the same. And then finally, the PRA said that insurers have in fact been shedding business that no longer meet their technical rate demands, and most of them expect that the new business will be more profitable than existing business. The PRA said this is questionable because the business they're dropping, they would appear to have a deeper understanding of compared to the new risks that they're obtaining. We've often wondered about the PRA being savvy enough to follow monitoring of insurance as they've taken over from the previous regulatory regime, but it seems that they're quite savvy enough to raise these questions. Meanwhile, a software company called AdSensa has conducted a review of Lloyd's reinsurance policies that's revealed that at least 40% were significantly exposed to catastrophic cyber attack. They conducted a study of 392 reinsurance policies from 3 managing agencies and found that at least 40% of them did not contain a standard cyber exclusion clause in the wording. In the event of a catastrophic cyber attack, carriers could find themselves exposed to the full limits of loss on policies originally intended to cover property damage or casualty lines, because a cyber attack is found to be the proximate cause of the loss and there was no exclusion. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has agreed to buy Medical Liability Mutual Insurance Company. Medical Liability Mutual is a New York-based medical malpractice insurer in New York State. It's going to convert from a policy-owned company to a stock business. The price of the sale was not released, but analysts are saying it's probably around $2.7 billion. This now means that Berkshire, which is already the largest provider of medical professional liability insurance in the U.S., will control a little bit more than 15% of the entire national market, more than double its nearest competitor. The insurance and reinsurance company Allied World has built on a solid set of first quarter results with a strong earnings beat for the second quarter. Q2 operating profits came in at about 91 cents a share, which handily beat the 39 cents a share estimate from Wall Street analysts. Most importantly, in a quarter where many reinsurers are expecting to miss earnings forecasts as a result of increased cat losses, Allied World reported that its cat losses were actually down about 3.9 points from 25 million to 20.9 million. The losses that they're reporting include about 10 million from the April hailstorm in Texas and 10.3 million from the Fort McMurray wildfires. It should also be noted that Allied World also had a claims reserve release, approximately, it seems, about $37 million. The Japan Meteorological Agency says that a moderately strong earthquake has shaken the Tokyo region for the third time in 4 days. The agency said that the 5.0 quake struck at 7:25 a.m. this morning, about 30 miles northeast of Tokyo. There was no tsunami risk, no reports of damage or injuries, although once again, for the third time in 4 days, downtown Tokyo swayed. Vandals have prompted a fire at the Gare du Nord train station in Paris that's halted traffic for most of yesterday to Britain and many other destinations. The French National Rail Service said that the fire was caused by a malicious incident, and it automatically prompted an immediate cutoff of power to the rails. The fire was quickly extinguished, and there was no sign of any terrorist intent, although it came amid nationwide jitters following the truck attack in Nice last week. The Gare du Nord is a central hub serving most of Western Europe and, of course, the under-the-Channel trains to London. Yesterday in London was the hottest day of the year. It came to about 91 degrees Fahrenheit. Unfortunately, it also came with a lot of violence. About 5 people were stabbed. We've been able to identify 4 separate incidents. 2,000 people gathered in Hyde Park in London for an event that was sponsored by social media. Police came under attack from bottles and other objects after they attempted to negotiate with a group attempting to set up stereo equipment. One officer was stabbed, another suffered a head injury, and 3 other police were injured. The chaos lasted almost 4 hours to about 2:20 a.m. The police, using riot shields and horses, had to clear the park. Meanwhile, 2 16-year-old boys were stabbed at another water fight in the city's Burgess Park. That event had also been advertised on social media, saw more than 500 people gather in the park, and then fights broke out between small groups. And then 2 hours later, at 8 p.m., some 200 people caused damage in a nearby supermarket, stole items, and injured 2 members of the supermarket staff. And then, in Stamford Hill, an hour later, officers were also pelted with bottles and other objects as they attempted to break up a block party which had attracted some 400 people to the street. Meanwhile, in Britain, where the infrastructure is not accustomed to high heat, railroads were forced to impose speed restrictions after fears that the high temperatures would buckle sections of the track. Chaos ensued at most London railway stations. The temperature is supposed to cool off starting tomorrow. That's the news for today. If there is breaking news, we'll be back to tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.